So happy random day. I just wanted to talk a little bit and maybe write songs about the topic of hypocrisy. I'm feeling a lot of emotion right now because I sometimes become a sort of strange version of a social justice warrior on the topic of trauma. And so whenever I see when I see people make sort of blind spot oriented mistakes, like they're not realizing that they're being hypocrites, like maybe they preach one thing constantly and then they go and do that thing. If it's a normal person, like an everyday person, in other words, if it's a person without like thousands and thousands and thousands of followers who are clearly building them up and supporting them, I don't get involved with that because that's like their business. We all are hypocrites. It's all over. It's rampant in your life if you start to look for it. I wrote a song about it when I was living in Chicago. So like, I think this song is very old. It's from maybe my first album. Hypocrisy clings to me like a wet, I can never remember this chord, sweater I'm damned to wear for eternity in a search replay. John Paul Sartre, but whatever. I'm probably saying it weirdly. Okay. Hypocrisy won't. Can't you see? It won't get better while you're still here with your eyes on me, and yet you stay. Okay, I'll finish. You say you want the best for me, what is it? My something friend, but I feel like it's mysterious, but it's not. My mysterious friend. That's not right. Anyway. Okay. You say you want the best for me. You play the devil's game, and then you wonder why money went. Yeah, you wonder where the money went. Honesty is a flag that I cling to from some other nation I desperately want to join. Honestly, I can see that it's hard to make your way to the station when the tracks aren't joined. I haven't played this in probably 10 years. I loved this song though. I still do. Did I already sing And You Say You Want the Best for Me? Yeah, I did. And you say gosh. Okay. So last night I released 10 albums on jessicafogel.bandcamp.com. They're all under the name Chicago number 3 through 12. So when I was living in Chicago, I also wrote 12 albums. Not in 12 months, but I had done these challenges, 5090 and fom.org. I'm too overwhelmed by how much I love that song in order to continue talking about hypocrisy, even though that song's about hypocrisy. This isn't quite hypocrisy what I'm doing right now, because I wasn't being against non-hypocrisy conversation, but still. My point is, I don't know. I'll go back to the hypocrisy point in a minute. Sorry, I'm just very moved. I'm having a day. That's why I decided to come and do this. So this morning, I'll just get to the story. This morning, I sort of self-righteously posted on a person's page, a social media influencer's page, that their very unloving, kind of snarky, snotty post about, hey everyone, don't post your plates of food on Thanksgiving, we're all eating the same thing. And they made it into a song, and they made it kind of aggressive. And this is a person who's a therapist. They are a person who posts constantly and gets tons of support for how they talk about how they're building up their family, building up everyone, and being a social worker. And they're very, not peace and love, like they do tough love too. And I love tough love, but like this was just neither. This was just like borderline bullying. And I guess they've been posting this post since 2017, so it even had like a 3-year-old vibe. Maybe they've grown a lot since then. But it just had none of the vibes that this person normally is selling. I mean, I can tell you who it is. It's the Instagram account, Kier and Them. It's KIERANDTHEM. And it's like their family, and and he's kind of like, working through a lot of things and helping a lot of people. And then this was like comedy, which fine comedy, but he's probably attracted a lot of people who are broken to his page. So I kind of trauma thrivered it and got on there and was just like, FYI, like the vibes on this are, I didn't say vibes, I don't know what I said, but I kind of called them out, because I just feel like I don't call out people in everyday situations, but if someone has a huge following and maybe doesn't realize they have a blind spot, because I mean, it had a moment where he like used anger at the camera, like, don't you post your pictures of your food. And I was just like, dude, you are like living a pretty entitled life in a way right now. You are working hard with the social work stuff, but you are living a life where tons of people are following you and you get to feel valid. Now, what if somebody's only way of feeling comfortable and connecting around the holidays, like everyone's sharing their plates of food so they feel safe and comfortable sharing what they ate, Like, you just shamed a huge portion of people. Like, if something is happening in the world, which is people sharing their food, then you telling them all not to, some people will do it anyway. And maybe you're one of those people, Kier. But a lot of people won't do it anyway. They will take your words as like the new gospel on high of like, uh-oh, this upsets this person I follow and respect, so I better not do this thing. Now take someone like me. They call us HSPs, highly sensitive people, empaths, all those things. Now take someone like me and imagine that the reason I have so much trauma baggage and have written like 3 albums, a whole series called Tiny Traumas Adding Up, is because someone like me experiences what you just did to your Instagram followers as a trauma. It's a tiny trauma, but it's like a little, it's like a tear in the fascia that holds everything together. But I just have so many tears in that I ended up identityless for a long time. And my only place where I would experience identity was inside my own songs. So if you've ever met somebody who, because I'm older now, but when I was younger, I didn't act like this. I held this all in, and my insides felt like this, of like, don't mess this up, don't mess this up. But I wasn't even totally conscious of doing that. It's like being trapped in middle school and being hyper-focused on what the cool kids are doing. And noticing that, oh, I'm not supposed to do this. Like, if you hear your internal monologue constantly saying, like, I'm not supposed to, or I should do, you're probably like me on that topic. Because I think confident people who aren't affected by those types of subtle bullying, they're not shooting all over themselves, as they say in the 12-step world, or wherever I heard that for the first time. They're just not. They just do what they want to do. And if they hear someone else's opinion is different, they're like, oh, well, that's that person's opinion. And they secretly, as far as the ones that I know, these strong, core, confident people, they almost secretly judge you. Maybe not judge, but it's like they think they're right. You feel what you feel about it. Like, don't push your Thanksgiving plates. But if they want to, not only will they still do it, but they secretly, or even sometimes openly, think you're wrong for thinking that. They just kind of almost think like, shut up, you're wrong. Like those, I've met confident people like that. It's either like, shut up, or just like, nah. It's like it's kind of like what you would think a boundary should feel like you don't get into them if your opinion doesn't match theirs. And so I love these people. My two best friends kind of have that vibe a bit. And it's like, it's a beautiful thing to witness, to be like, oh my gosh, some people do not sponge up every person's opinion. Like, I don't just sponge up your energy. If it were just energy, I could probably deal with that better. It's that I also sponge up your thoughts. I sponge up your opinion. I sponge up everything that you think is right. And then I have to like fight against it in myself, battle it, duke it out, then decide whether or not I agree with it, and then come out boldly into the world like a flower and be like, I've realized 20 years later that I disagree with you. Like, that's insane, but I bet half the world lives like that. And some of them do it all the way till their deathbed, and then that's where all these concepts of like deathbed regrets come from. Like, wait, this thing I was living by for 40 years turned out to be wrong. Now I want to quick catch up and do these other things like paint with watercolors, or some free-spirited thing like dance in the street or take a dance class, but I was being too shy because I remembered so-and-so said when such and such was blah, and that people who are overweight shouldn't do this, and so I stopped doing that because I couldn't get my weight under control, but then that made me feel depressed, and now I overeat more. I don't know what it is for you, but I'm just saying that's the type of loop. Like, if you have a thing you want to do, but you think you're not allowed to do it until X, until Y, or you think you're supposed to only do it if you are this, or you think you should do it, like you're not supposed to talk this much. You're certainly not supposed to sit at home and talk to yourself this much. But I do this because this is one of the things I untangled. I love sharing. And if not enough people in the world are interested in communicating in this intensive a way to work through the blocks and the sticky parts of the energy that, like, this was ruining my day. Oh, so back to hypocrisy. So I did that on his page. And I don't know that this is one of my fullest moments of hypocrisy, but I shamed him about shaming people. And I did it so lovingly, and I did it with hearts and hashtags like Trauma Thriver and like to each his own. And then when someone said, you know, that actually didn't, so I had said, I agree with so-and-so because two people had said something, and then that person comes on the thread and is like, yeah, I wasn't bothered by it. I just was still going to post. And I was like, oh, okay, to each his own, and no worries. I didn't mean to speak for you at all. And I said like loving things, and whether it was in my own mind or whether it was some weird way that I can feel energy that I've talked about in previous videos, I felt an energy kind of go a little bit. Because for like 2 hours, like, what's going on? I was feeling grumpy. I was feeling sensitive. And it's probably because all these people were seeing my comments. Some were maybe clicking on my page and like thinking either negatively of me or like of me, you know? So in a way, I was a hypocrite because I added shame to his day. I didn't like that he added shame to my Thanksgiving morning, where I went on his page and looked at his video only because I know he's uplifting. I wouldn't have watched something negative that just put this really kind of angry, aggressive tone in my mind in the morning when I was still half asleep. But I watched it, and it was not what I was expecting, and then I felt shame, judged, negative, and then I took it and I converted it, but not all the way, you know, because I'm sure I still came off self-righteous or something. I don't know. I don't want to believe that you can't ever call people out without it meaning you're a hypocrite. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I think intentions are interesting. And maybe what I really believe, and this is something I've been talking about with my sister a little bit lately, but maybe I really believe that, like, if someone's in a position of power, and I even said this in my follow-up comment, like, that I'm just really sensitive, and I said triggered on this topic with people in soft power, as I said. So he's not in power, like, he doesn't have actual power over me, but that's soft power. He has influence. I mean, it's literally called being an influencer. So it just bothers me. And if it bothers you too, hello. But back to the topic of hypocrisy, I think it's pointing and then three fingers pointing back. When you're pointing at something, three fingers are pointing back at you. So if something's bothering you, it's in you. There's a saying, you spot it, you got it. So if you see somebody being selfish, then you're bothered by your own selfishness. And maybe what it really is you're not behaving selfishly, but maybe you're fighting against your selfishness on a daily basis. And so when you see someone just living out their selfishness, it bothers you because you're using all your energy and life force to withhold and keep down and keep in control of your own selfishness. Maybe. I mean, it's something like that on almost any topic that you could be angry about. I even used to go so far as to try to see myself in our soon-to-be former leader of this country. Like, I would work really hard to see, well, how am I like him? How am I just spinning out? How am I just manipulative? Or how am I kind of crazy? Or how am I kind of retelling the truth in order to make it more what I want it to be? Or, you know, all these things. And there's some benefit to seeing yourself in other people, but I think then if you do that, then you also have to come back to a place of self-worth and say, yeah, but this person just mocked people with disabilities openly with no shame, never apologized. Like, I've never done that in my adult life. Like, that's things like that. So, you know, you do have to come back to a place of self-worth if you go down this rabbit hole of pointing and being like, spot it, you got it. Like, you know. Anyway, that's meandering, and those are some thoughts, I guess, about hypocrisy and about my own hypocrisy and why I was uncomfortable all morning. And I guess I'll write a song about it or just about anything. Footy pajamas, like 3 or 4 Even newer than what I've been these 3 or 4 years, even newer, filming for a second, and I was having a kind of spiritual experience and kind of hearing some things towards the end there. They're sacred to me. I'm not going to share them, but it was kind of intense. I don't really want to end the video, like, just go like, well, bye, and then stop. But at the same time, I don't know if I can compose myself and share something meaningful out of the experience I just had. Okay, I'll talk about seeds. So now this video is about hypocrisy and seeds, being a seed. Seeds as metaphors. I've been writing my life backwards. So backwards writing, backwards envisioning is when you decide you need to be a certain thing. You decide that future you, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, needs to look a certain way. That's backwards. What does that have to do with anything? How is that living? That's not living. I think of like, give us this day our daily bread, you know, or that God cares for birds. You're going to be clothed and cared for as well. And I don't know your faith, so I'm just speaking for myself. Or none. It's fine. I don't need you to believe what I believe in order to get other things out of this channel. But a seed, even if all you believe in is nature, and you don't even have to believe in it, you can see it. If you believe that there's this crazy miracle called things growing, and you don't understand what causes it. Like, some atheists or people that I know who are anti a lot of God-related language, it's like, okay, but you can literally see things, like, growing in front of you. Like, by what force? By life force. Like, I think we're all just getting in a language tangle. Like, maybe life force is what some people are calling God. There's this one unified, universal life force, growth, and the opposite of it, like if you think yin-yang symbols would be, like in the Tao Te Ching, there's the bowl, and then there's the empty space in the bowl. And the empty space in the bowl is kind of like what I think of as dark. Dark is like things we don't know. Like, I can see this plant, but what I can't see is this plant 2 years from now, how big it will be or how dead it will be. Right? I can't see that. So that's kind of like in the dark. And I think of that as like time. Time being like a gift. I see time as like a gift from God to kind of relieve us of the curse of some aspects of humanity. Like, if we saw all things, the whole time picture at once, we would lose our minds. I don't think we're able to see or think in that dimension. Like, that's beyond our minds. And so we think in time. And that's why a way to like stave off madness or anxiety and depression is to become very present. Like right now. You just take a breath. You blow it out, and you do that as many times as you need to until you really can feel this moment. Like right now, this day, this place you're sitting, this feeling you're having, this look of your skin, this chipping nail polish, rainbow pastel nail polish, you know, this. And you start to see things that you surround yourself with, things that are drawing your energy and things that are giving you energy or life and inspiration, and things that are sapping it away. And you just start to see it in this now moment. And as all those spiritual books say, the ones that are about the now, that's where your power is. If you can start to notice your now, you'll also notice what's going wrong in your now, and you can start to tend to it. But if you're obsessed with past and future and you're lost in time. So in other words, back to what I was crying about. If we're seeds, then a seed is living intensely, constantly in its now, as far as we know. I don't know that a seed can think, but say it could. Doesn't it have to focus on its now in order to grow the next leaf? You know, it does. It has to be focused on that. And now is not boring. I think a lot of people experience, and I did, this sort of constant presence. Like trying to be really present inside of a feeling where you might cry, or inside of a song where you might cry, or inside of a moment on a stage inside of a song, and not lose your focus. I see a lot of either ADHD or just focus issues in some of my current students because the world is getting very fast and distracting. And how do we just stay in that moment of that one thing we're doing? And, that's where people like Eckhart Tolle are really helpful. And there's a lot of presence teachers, most yogis. There's so many people who teach presence. I learned it more probably from the Tao Te Ching or from Pema Chodron than anything. But, so I've been getting my life backwards because I've been like scripting, like, and then I'll do this, and then I'll do this, and then I'll do this. I've even been writing albums, and then instead of going in order with the most important, oldest one, I've been leaving those for some future random date when I believe I'll randomly be ready to handle them. And I've been doing new albums and just letting these shelves full of things that I want to do for my future pile up, which is like assigning work to my future self. Deading is similar. Deading is assigning responsibility to your future self. Assigning, like if you use a credit card for a couple $1,000, now you've assigned a future financial responsibility to your future self. And the problem, the disconnect, the thing that hurts my brain if I really realize what I'm doing, if I ever do that, is my future self will feel to me exactly like my now self. I will feel that as a now someday. So at what now do I want to have the burden of the $2,000 or whatever it may be? I'm just making an example from a past me. At what now am I going to want to have to deal with a burden of a past, less responsible me? Like, it's always going to be now. So if you're always going to be feeling now, like the little seed growing, then you're getting it backwards if you project outward, or you make choices that depend on a future you doing a certain thing. Like, I'm going to do this in 2 years. Says who? I mean, it's fine to have a goal or a script or a plan. Like, it's just, I think there must just be a fine line. Like, it's one thing to have it as a now mental orientation. Like, I want to use the next few years to focus on this. Or, as of today, I mean, I know this makes language sound stupid. As of today, what I want is to focus on this. And it'll take me a few years to get there, but that's my trajectory. But then where some wise, like, business coaches come into play, like my brother's in that kind of industry, like consultants and stuff. Well, he's done quite a few things, but in business-related stuff, you would call it, like, course correcting. Like, you would check in every 3 to 6 months, or maybe more. I don't know much about business. Like, so if you're on this trajectory where right now in this now, you're like, yay, I want to do this thing. But, like, if it isn't going well, then that's your new now. Now in this new now, you would say, well, I think I'm off a little. I need to try this. And now let me try this. And now let me try this. So you'll have never done the thing that you would have said you were going to do. It wouldn't be like some linear thing all the way there. It wouldn't be a thing where you can imagine it and then follow a script all the way to get there. I think that's like a way to avoid living. That's my current philosophy. It's like living feels like being a seed, and you don't know if you're going to be the crooked, broken tree. You don't know if you're going to be the tree that grows around a power line and has to get cut in the middle and is barely hanging on and dividing around a power line. Like, you don't know which tree you're going to be. I don't know which tree I'm going to be. As I make these videos, I want to believe that it's leading to some particular... That made me... Sorry. I don't even want to believe it. I don't know what... I've gone through so many phases with these videos. I've thought I'm like a savior for anybody who has a lot of emotional issues and no one doing enough real talk to really help work through them. I've thought that. I've also thought, wow, no one watches these, or almost no one watches these, so these are mostly just for me, to preserve my own past and what I had to work through and live through in order to heal from the mental tangles around trauma that I made worse through a lot of modern culture, subscribing to a lot of modern culture and how modern culture interprets trauma, from anything from therapy as a rule versus therapy works for some people, and for other people it becomes a giant trust issue that is not resolvable. You know, the first second you see that your therapist doesn't really care about you and you're just a paycheck, or the first second that you see your therapist got something grotesquely wrong and made a mistake. You know, so if you struggle with trauma patterns that involve really dysfunctional patterns with authority figures, then therapy, if you're like me, will fall into that same aspect in your life. So the only people that have ever been able to help me are people that didn't try to have authority over me. Even soft power authority. I need to feel like I need to feel like the expert on me in the room, not the therapist knowing me better than I know myself. Like, that doesn't work for me. And you could say that it's intelligence, but I don't think it's just intelligence. I think it's care. I'm going to care more about my life than a therapist who I'm just one of many clients and I'm paying them. They're not going to care about me as much as I'm going to care about my life. Like, there's just no possible way. They can't. They're not stuck in my body their whole lives the way I am. And the best therapists will care a lot, but many will care as much as they can for one client out of 30 or 60, you know? And it's going to be a drastic disparity in that room. Me caring a lot about figuring something out about my life, and them caring as much as they can for that random 2 to 2:30 or 2 to 3 p.m. time spot on a Monday. It's not a great model to me. I'm not trying to ever be so anti-therapy in these videos, but I believed in it for over a decade and kept coming and going from it, thinking it was me that was too broken to be fixed, when really what kept happening is inside the therapy, I was getting my traumas dredged up and then being re-traumatized through how it was happening, and then eventually breaking away. And then if I had to start again with a new therapist, I had to tell them everything again. And it's just like, I had one or two that were great, and most were not good at all. And that's not, I used to internalize that as shame, like, well, then that's something wrong with me. I'm just defiant. I'm just this. I'm just that. I've hated myself more than enough to think that it could have been that. And now I'm like, no, I just wasn't allowed in this current society to be able to say it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. So if you are like a highly sensitive person, the drama of the gifted child is the thing from like the 70s. It's like, I tried to be an A student at therapy. It doesn't work. You know, like I wrote a 200-page fourth step for the 12-step program. And I've told this before, but like, and my sponsor at the time was like, these are normal things. Like, you're overthinking this. And she didn't say it in a mean way. She said it with great love and patience. And that's almost one of the only relationships in my adult life where I felt a balance with somebody who was trying to help me. And she knew how to not project herself onto me, and that was kind of incredible. And so she became like an open slate. That sounds terrible. Like a blank slate, like an open piece of paper, like an open journal. And by being a listener and just being present with me, she helped me find presence with myself. And how weird that that was the main thing I needed. I didn't need a million suggestions of what to do, and almost given to me from former therapists like rules. They don't mean to, but it can become an extension of your family dynamic. It can become an extension of your educational dynamic. Any situation of power imbalance, therapy can become that. So if it hasn't worked for you, I'm sorry. I am not the person to turn to, I will tell you that. Like, I make these YouTube videos while having 100, right now I have 103 subscribers, and I get like one comment once every month, you know, and it's usually just like, cool, or, you know, so it's not, so if you are seeing these later in time and it seems like I'm some helpful being and it makes you want to turn to me and message me or something, please know that I'm actually the most overwhelmed person on the planet. Like, I don't know anyone who will, like, because the problem is I'm so wordy that if I hadn't learned how to develop boundaries of not messaging with people, which I've only recently learned. So when fans or people who find me on Instagram write me, I don't write back, because I will treat you equal to my spouse, to my best friend's sister, and I will share a million words back with you, and then you'll share with me, and then it goes on, and I will make everyone on this planet my best friend inadvertently, including toxic people, which is not a judgment. I've been toxic too. It's just, I will get into dynamic with anybody, because I just have that openness. It's just part of who I am. And so I've had to learn very slowly over time, like that I actually can't do that. So if you put things in the comments and I don't reply, that's why. It's a choice. It's actually not a lack of care. It's a choice to have that boundary there because I can't be your therapist. And if you need to hear more words from me, then search them up in the videos, and like I'm trying to give as many words as I can on any topic that I can think of. And if you want to like put comments of like ideas to talk about, and then I'll, end up probably rambling about it eventually because I'll probably read the comments. I'm just going to probably, if the amount of comments I get ever changes, I think some people will be surprised at how much I seem like I care and when I talk, but I can't care one-on-one, if that makes sense. And that makes me feel like a mean person. It makes me feel like not like my Mr. Rogers hero, like what if Bob Ross is actually a jerk and doesn't ever write anyone back? But is that really being a jerk? Or is it he's good at painting and is sharing his gifts and he doesn't, I don't want to say doesn't have time. It's just, if you choose to do the one thing, you don't have the space in yourself energetically to choose to do the other thing. This thing that I do gives all of myself away. And when I do this, I give as much of myself away as I can. I don't know how I became so morbid like 4 or 5 years ago. Probably in one of many health scares I've had in my 20s and 30s, just like starting to think like, well, if I have all this music in me and I never really shared it, never really tried hard, because before 2017 I hardly ever shared anything creative or thoughts like this. And so I think I almost got morbid about it, and I was almost just like, well, just in case I die young, I'll put as much as I can out there. It's pretty morbid. But that's probably the real motivation why I started doing this. Because I was like, well, I spent 20 years studying piano. I was at a conservatory. I only have like a couple albums out there and barely any of my real self. Anyway. Let's show my Christmas tree. There's a filter on this. I had my phone inside of this glass thing made by my friend Charity, and I built up all these rocks from Colorado on top of this Michigan moss and stones painted by my mother and this bird from my sister, and I built the whole thing up. These Colorado ones are normally in this other one. Oh, I forgot there was a ginkgo leaf in there. Yeah, I normally kept Colorado and Michigan separate, but I don't know. Metaphors. I have so many thoughts on that. I'm going to eventually, I'll tell you. I'm going to eventually, this is many albums away, and I'm not going to do things out of order anymore. Oops. I'm going to eventually put the Colorado Dreams and Michigan Dreams and Colorado Feelings albums together. They're going to be interwoven. God willing, or time willing, or life willing, or trajectory willing, or I have no idea, but that's the current dream. The dream as of November 2020, that's like 5 albums away from now. Maybe only 3. Hang on. Yeah, I think it's only 3 albums away. Maybe 4. Maybe 5. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, it's like a split with myself. Colorado Feelings / Michigan Dreams. I think that's how it would be. Michigan Dreams / Colorado Feelings. Yeah, maybe that. I don't know. Anyway, and then the songs go, I think, the other way around, because it's, I forgot, this is a metaphor. One goes in one order. I think one goes in the same order and the other goes in backwards order, and then they're integrated and they all get new song title numbers, and the song title numbers the new way actually makes more sense to my soul and being. So it's like kind of a way of learning how to go in forward motion again, and blah, 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 blah. Colorado and Michigan teach me 2 very different things. There were these women that I met when I was kayaking there just a few months ago, and these women I said something about them being so different, both places, and they were like, what? No, they're not. They didn't sound like that. And then they tried to explain to me how the climates were similar, and I was like, yeah, but, because this is like on top of a mountain, this is like 8,000 feet. And they were like, well, I guess, because I brought up it being dry versus wet, like where I live in Michigan feels like wetlands, and where my sister lives in Colorado, I have it on, Buena Vista, feels very dry. I don't know. I mean, not totally like the desert, but pretty dry. Like, there's a such thing as water rights, where you can't take any of the water, like in the stream running in front of your house, because it belongs to the house 4 hours down. I mean, it's like, there's like old folklore of people like killing each other over water. It's like really kind of scary, actually. So, like, scary conceptually, that how people treat each other. I don't know. I suppose I could write one more song, but I don't know if I'm feeling it. Yeah, maybe I will. Okay. Nope. Okay. 1, 2, 3. actually, oh, sorry. I realized I actually really miss writing songs where the words are written out ahead of time, because I'm kind of tired of the pressure of trying to think of something. I'm tired of the feeling that if I get swept away in the music, then I don't know what words are coming out of my mouth, and I'm tired of feeling like if I get swept away in the words, then I can't get the music the way I'm hearing it in my head. And yeah, I'm just getting, I'm not tired of it, but I think I'm about 7 or 8 or 9 or 100 or 1,000 songs into that approach. Maybe more. Like I was saying, so there's 10 albums that I just put up yesterday, written from roughly 2008 to 2010, and they're all at jessicafogel.bandcamp.com, but they're all under one album. So it's a boat that's a watermelon half, and it says Chicago, number 3 through 12. So if you want to hear my old work, it's weirder. It's more like, although maybe not, because it was also that Hypocrisy song. Or my favorite one. Whoa, there's some really big birds right now. My favorite one, maybe one of my favorites, The Ballad of Driftwood and Bubbles. But that's on Melancholy Frog. Wow, these birds are huge. What is that? It looks almost like an eagle. Anyway. But yeah, so I went through a phase. Maybe now it's like a 10-year phase of like mostly just pushing record and singing and playing. And then sometimes having songs that I love come out of that. And I didn't know the words I was going to say ahead of time. And sometimes I would edit them after, and sometimes I wouldn't. But sometimes if I write, like in my journal, and some words come up and I hit a flow and it's words I love, then, before I put them to music, I can edit them a little bit to say what I really want to say or what I really mean. Because sometimes you're in a flow and then you lose the flow and then you have to use some dummy words for a while. But if that's going to be like the final recording, then that's really stressful. And I feel like with the 12 albums in 12 months and the 365 songs in 365 days, I feel like, okay, I paid my dues. Like, no one asked me to do that, but that's what I've done for a long time. And maybe it's just a little draining. Because, I don't know, neither of those 2 songs that I just made up would I ever go relearn, I don't think, because I don't think lyrically they were saying anything I need to re-say. Like, it's more just like a creative, it's more like a therapy, like a personal therapy to make up songs that way. Like, it feels kind of interesting. Anyway, this is my pile. I think I already put it in one of my videos, but I'm making a music video on Sunday, and Brian's gonna film me, and I'm gonna dance my childhood dances. Oh my gosh, I'm literally just talking to myself for 55 minutes. That's my YouTube channel. It's not really meant to be just for me, but it feels arrogant to say that. But I really do hope there are ideas in here that help you. And I'm sure they'd be more helpful if I knew how to edit or turn this into something. But I just can't worry about that, because that's just not my strength and not my calling. So I hope my free-spirited, meandering nature helps you in some way. It must, or you wouldn't still be here having just heard me say that. So grateful for you. Like and subscribe. Just kidding. I know if you're here this long, you probably already did. All right. Bye.